Hey guys, my name is Martin. I'm an information designer here at Small Multiples, and today I want to show you how you can easily add real data to your mockups using Sketch. For this tutorial, I'm going to use this wireframe that contains air quality data for several stations in New South Wales in Australia. I'm going to show you how you can easily add text data like the station name and regions, as well as number values like the latest value and the maximum. I'm going to show you how you can easily create bar charts, as well as how you can import other chart types, like for example these line charts here. I'm mainly going to use Sketch in combination with a few plugins like Chippencharts and Data Populator to create this kind of view here. And for this view, I'm going to show you how you can use the export feature of other tools like for example R or RStudio to add a bit more variety to the kind of charts that you can add to your wireframes and mockups. I'm also going to show you guys quickly how I created this simple prototype using Sketch, the Craft plugin, and InVision. This tutorial is based on a more theoretical talk I did a few weeks ago in Sydney at UX Australia. There's also a video on YouTube about this, so if you like this kind of stuff and you haven't seen the video, be sure to check it out later. But for now, let's dive into our example of wireframes using real air quality data. Okay, so I prepared this sketch file here with a few basic elements. One element is already added for one station, and this element includes station name, region, bar chart, latest, and max placeholders. First thing we're going to need is some sweet data. So I went to the New South Wales government page for the Planning, Industry and Environment department and downloaded some hourly PM 2.5 for a few stations. So I just picked 3 for this presentation, and then I exported it as Excel file for the period around New Year's Eve 2019-2020. And this is looking something like this. Okay, beautiful. Then I've created, or I calculated the current value, which is basically just duplication of this, as well as the maximum values, which is this little calculation here. So this is what I need for the right-hand side panel, and I've also added like a little table for station name and region. This is what we're gonna need for the left side here. Okay, beautiful. Data's all there. Let's duplicate this element. So now we have 3 elements here, one for every station, and let's tackle the text data first. And let's start with this one here. So this is actually a symbol. So a get symbol always contains some overrides, and this one contains overrides for current value, latest, and so on. And basically what I want to do is change the LL and MM to the data values. So what I can do is go to my first station, select the latest data, which is 20.5, copy this and paste it into here, and so on. I can do this for all of them, but obviously this is not how we're going to do this, because this takes lots of time and it's just super manual and prone to errors. And imagine if we have not 3 stations but 100, that's not going to work, and that's not going to be quick and easy. Let's undo this. Instead, we're going to use a plugin called Chippencharts. Chippencharts can easily be downloaded from GitHub. It was actually developed by Small Multiples, and on GitHub you have some more information about the features and how you can use it. So I'm going to this file here and copy the values here. Chippencharts only works with symbols, and it only works with line separated data. So CSV won't work. So I have this in my clipboard. I'm gonna run Chippencharts and say paste clipboard text into symbols. And of course I have my 3 symbols selected. Now it's gonna ask me what override I want to use, and I want to use the LL, the latest one. Beautiful, and that's it. There's all my data. And I'm going to do the same for the max. Still selected, going to run it. I'm going to select the MM one. And boom, all my data is here. Beautiful, super easy, super quick, and yeah, pretty error safe. I could do the same for the station name and region, but I want to show you another plugin that you can also use for this, which is Data Populator. Data Populator requires a JSON file instead of just copying from clipboards, as well as some specific naming for the layers. So you see I have station name and region in curly brackets, and this is what my JSON file needs to contain as well. So I'm going to take this data here and I want to create it, transform it to a JSON file. I'm just going to use this website here, Mr. Data Converter, so you can just paste in your tab or comma separated values, and then you have your JSON file here, and I just saved it into a stationinfo.json, and you can see, you know, station name and region is exactly how our layers are named as well. So now that we have that file, I can just run the Data Populator plugin, populate with JSON. So I've already selected stationinfo.json, selected, populate, and boom, there it is. All my data is here. So that's actually way quicker because I can populate several fields at the same time. So station and region at the same time. And before, when I used Chippencharts, I had to do latest and max separately. However, it requires a bit of effort to create this JSON file. And you can't just copy paste from the clipboard. Okay, beautiful. Let's have a look at our bar chart. If you don't have any data, which is of course not the purpose of this video, but in theory you could just add random data with Chippencharts. So that's the first option here, random bar chart from selected layers. Just run this one, select your minimum and maximum. So the height of the frame here is 67. So I'm gonna choose this one, and I'm gonna choose random. You could also do trend up or trend down, but for now I'm just gonna do random. And boom, there it is. Already looking much better than these ones, but again, we obviously want to use real data, and in reality, you know, it wouldn't look like this. So it looks better, but it's still unrealistic. Let's go to our data sheet, 48 hours. So I actually deleted a few rows already, so we only have 48 hours here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to use Chippencharts, and this time I'm going to use the second option, which is define bar chart from selected layers. I'm going to paste it in here. Select the format, which is Excel column. And I'm not going to worry about this yet. I'm going to do this in a second. I'm just going to hit run. And beautiful, that's my data. Pretty nice. I can see two peaks on 2nd of January in the morning. It was a big peak. 1st of January, again, a big peak midday. And then this is around New Year's Eve. You can see, so there were actually fireworks near the harbor bridge, or on the harbor bridge. This might be this peak here. I can't really tell, but could be. So that's quite nice. And also this obviously matches, so the maximum value of 81.4 is this value here. So that's pretty nice. Okay, there's a few issues here. So one issue is that 1 pixel equals to one increment in the data. So this value here is 81.4, yeah, exactly this one. So it's also 81.4 pixels. That's of course not what we want. Would be nice if we could say that, no, this should fit to the frame, of course. So we can use Chippencharts for that. So actually what Chippencharts is going to do, it's going to populate your existing chart up here. So you don't have to paste it all the time. And you can just say, okay, my maximum should be 67. Okay, beautiful. Now it fits, so that's nice. However, if we do this for all of the charts, it's not really comparable with each other. So what we're gonna do instead is just define a reasonable limit. And I want to do it in a way that if the bar reaches the end of the frame, that it has some kind of meaningful value. And I'm just going to choose 100. So this is still chosen a bit random, but I think if the value is 100, the air quality is pretty poor. Okay, so if the value is 100, sorry, if the value is 100, the pixel value should be 67. So we have to multiply it by 0.67. I'm going to run this. Okay, sorry, I did something wrong. I forgot to say that it's, I think I had it at some comma separated, but it's of course Excel column. Okay, let's just do it again. Okay, beautiful. Let's do the same for Newcastle. So I'm just gonna copy Newcastle data and paste it in here. Okay, sorry. Of course, I need to select all of them. Okay, Excel column, 0.67 scaling. So we're using the same scaling for all of them so that we can compare them with each other. So if two bars or columns are the same height, like for example, like this one and this one seem to be roughly the same height. So this one is 40 and yeah, this one is 39.8 and they also look similar. So that's what we want to have comparable. Okay, beautiful. And let's use the next one. Okay. Paste in Excel column and 0.67. And let's see how this looks. Oh my god. Okay. So Albury is at the south border of New South Wales to Victoria, and the bushfires have been pretty bad around New Year's Eve, and you can definitely tell this by looking at the air quality. So this is actually a good thing because, and not that the air quality is bad, that's a pretty bad thing, but a good thing is that we can see these kinds of behavior happening in our wireframes now, or in our mockups. So we can do some design decisions before we actually, develop this chart. So that's pretty cool. For now, I'm just gonna choose a pretty boring solution, which is just cutting these values off. I'm just going to select all of them and make them 68. And another nice solution, which we will see later for the line chart, is that we have an actual benchmark value to compare it. Okay, beautiful. So that's our bar chart with real data for the bars and for the text. Now let's have a look at our 7 days line chart. And remember, the chart that we want to have for the last 7 days is a line chart. I'm going to show you how you can use the export feature of R, or better R Studio, in order to add it to your sketch wireframes. But the takeaway here is that you can use whatever tool or whatever software you want to use. Ideally, it's something that exports SVG or any other vector, like PDF, for example. And for the R example, we're going to use the PDF export. I've duplicated this and already started including some charts, some line charts. And I also added a few other elements, and I also updated the maximum values for this. And I'm just going to show you how I'm going to add a line chart similar to the Bradfield and Newcastle one for Albury. So let's go to my Finder. And in the end, I want 3 PDFs here. So I'm already having Bradfield and Newcastle. And I want to add another PDF for Albury. Gonna go to R. I've already created the prepared the code for it. If you're not familiar with R, this might look super weird and unsexy for you, but I tried to keep the code easy, and again, the takeaway is just that you can create your chart in whatever tool you want. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, just importing the data, defining how my PDF is going to be called. We want to do Albury, so I'm going to do Albury, and basically everything that goes in between the PDF line and the dev offline is going to show up in my PDF. And I'm going to do Albury data. Okay, so the Albury data looks like this. I just want to plot this onto a line chart. That's why I have to define the type L. So if I plot this, it looks like this. That's basically what we want. I'm just going to add a few other things like the lines for the days, as well as our benchmark line. So in the previous example with the bar charts, we used the 100. So I think when the value is above 100, it's pretty bad. So very poor. And I think if it's in the around area of 30 or so, then it's moderate. So not good anymore. And if it's below 27, I think you can say it's good. So that's why I'm using this number for this exercise. Obviously, both views should have the same in the end. But I'm not going to be too scientific for this tutorial. Okay, so if I'm just going to run this here, remember I'm having only two PDFs here. I'm going to run this, and I'm having 3. Magic. So that's my Albury chart. Nice. So you might remember, so these spikes here are basically these spikes. Okay, and let's go to our Finder and import this. Just drag and drop. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that we don't really need. I am just gonna delete that stuff here. Just gonna ungroup this and ungroup this and delete the axis and all these kinds of stuff. And I'm gonna say, okay, do I use this color? Our benchmark should be a horizontal line, I think. Is that working? Yep. And our actual line here, line chart. Okay. So now we want to squeeze this line chart into this one here, or better replace it. So first I'm going to apply the same dimensions. So 497 times 71. Okay, and now I'm going to do something super cool. So I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to select this frame here, this layer. I'm going to use another plugin from the SketchMate plugin family, which is Replace Layer. So what this is doing is it's replacing the selected layer with the layer I have in my clipboard. So if I select this, boom, there is my chart. And this is how I did it with the others as well. So this is obviously a little bit different than this, and ideally we would use the same kind of visuals and benchmarks, but I just wanted to show you a bit of different things that you can do in Sketch. Okay, so last thing that's left is creating our prototype, and I'm going to use this craft plugin for that. So we have this little toolbar here, and you can easily define hyperlinks with that. So I'm just going to press this slash button here, or a C, and I'm just going to say, okay, if you click on last 7 days, go to this, yep, maintain scrolling, and vice versa. If you click on last 48 hours, go to this view here. Okay, so now they are both linked. And now I can select them and say, okay, yep, okay. Upload them to my InVision prototype. There it is. Let's open the prototype. There we are. That's what we just did. Amazing. Oops. So this shouldn't be like this. Looks pretty good. Yeah, and this is how you can easily import real data for text and charts to Sketch. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you have any comments about the plugin I've used, Chippencharts, Data Populator, or the workflow, then please leave some comments. Thanks for watching.